Okay, hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how to compute confidence intervals and p-values for hypothesis tests in StatCrunch using a real data set. And these examples are going to be for comparing proportions between two groups. So we're going to use the roller coasters data set that we looked at in class today. And first, I'm going to compute a proportion of roller coasters that have inversions in them, so that make you go upside down, between steel and wood roller coasters. And the question is there a difference in the proportion of roller coasters that go upside down between steel and wood roller coasters? So to compute this confidence interval, I'm going to go to Stat and Proportion Stats. This time I'm going to go to ToSample because I want to compare the proportions between two groups with data. Okay, now sample 1 and sample 2 are supposed to represent the two groups. So in group 1, I want to compute the proportion of roller coasters that have inversions. So the values are in inversions, that's the variable. And the thing I want to compute the proportions of is yeses, so roller coasters that do inversion. And in the second sample, so the second group, I want to compute exactly the same thing, the proportion of roller coasters that have inversions. Now what's the difference? The first group is the roller coasters where the construction variable is wood, and the second group is where the construction variable is steel. So if I move this aside so that we can look at the data again, there's this column in the data, construction, and it's either steel or wood. Those are my two groups. Within each of those groups, I want to compute the proportion of times that inversions is yes. Okay, right now, I don't want to do a hypothesis test. I want to do a confidence interval for the difference in proportions, and I want to do 95% confidence. So I'll push compute. And here we go. I got my confidence interval. The observed difference was about 25%, with a confidence range from about minus 18% to minus 31%. So that's telling me very strongly that the proportion of roller coasters with inversions is much higher in steel roller coasters. Perhaps that could have to do with safety or something. All right, now let's think about how we would do the same problem as a hypothesis test instead of a confidence interval. So I'm going to go to options and I'm going to edit my choices. I still want to compare the proportion of roller coasters with inversions between wood, steel roller coasters, but now instead of a confidence interval, I want to do a hypothesis test. And I do want to test the standard hypotheses, the null hypothesis that there's no difference between the groups. So first proportion minus second proportion equals 0. And the alternate hypothesis that there is some difference between the groups. So if I push compute there instead, then I get the same sample difference. The standard error is a little bit different, and the p-value is reported as 0.0004. So that gives me the same conclusion that I got from the confidence interval, which is that there is a difference and that there's more inversions in steel roller coasters. Okay, that's exactly how you do this kind of test in this kind of interval in StatCrunch, but I want to make one final note. We didn't check the conditions for the test in this example, and if we look, we'll see that only 1 out of 42 wooden roller coasters actually had inversions. This is probably because it's just not safe to do inversions in a wood roller coaster, and so basically no one does it. There's one example in the data set, maybe it's even a mistake. The sample size has to be big enough, so we have to expect 10 successes and 10 failures in each group in order to use this test. And so this sample size is just too small any way that you look at it. And so probably we can't trust the results that we just got, but we can trust the method. So if I ask you to do this with a different data set, at least this is showing you how.